Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty incredible, almost biological mystery. Why do we constantly self-sabotage? You know the feeling. It's this wild mix of psychology, neuroscience, and evolution. So let's just jump right in and break down these invisible chains that are holding us back. Picture this. You're lying in bed, staring up at the ceiling, and you tell yourself with absolute 100% conviction, tomorrow, I'm finally going to change. We've all been there, right? You can literally feel the motivation coursing through your veins in that exact moment.
But then, tomorrow comes, and absolutely nothing changes. You stay in the exact same job. You fall right back into the exact same routines, the same old habits, the same excuses. Even when you're deeply, deeply unhappy, it's like something invisible just keeps pulling you right back to where you started. Which really makes you wonder, is your comfort zone actually an addiction? Like, is your brain actively trapping you? We almost always look at our failure to change as this massive lack of willpower, like a personal failing. But here's the shocking truth we're uncovering today. Your brain never actually evolved to help you become extraordinary. It evolved to keep you alive.
To really get how we got here, we got to travel way, way back, about 50,000 years ago. Imagine waking up every single morning, surrounded by sheer danger. We're talking wild animals, harsh weather, hostile tribes, the works. Every single choice you made was literally life or death. So, over tens of thousands of years, our ancient ancestors learned one incredibly crucial rule: never change what already works.
Back then, trying something new carried an enormous risk. Honestly, curiosity could literally kill you. If a specific cave kept your family alive, you stayed in that cave. Predictability equaled survival. And generation after generation, the brains that preferred the familiar were the ones that survived. Fast forward to today, the world has completely changed. But your brain? It hasn't quite caught up. It still mistakes familiarity for safety, even when that familiarity is making you totally miserable.
And that brings us to the very first suspect in our biological mystery. It's a region of your brain called the basal ganglia. You can think of this as your brain's ultimate efficiency manager. Every single time you repeat a familiar routine, your brain saves energy. So instead of making fresh decisions, the basal ganglia just turns repeated actions into automatic habits. It absolutely loves automation because, well, it requires way less thinking and there's almost zero uncertainty.
Just think about the massive difference in the mental energy you burn doing different things. Driving a familiar route to work, the energy drain is incredibly low. Sometimes you even pull into your driveway and don't even remember the trip. But learning a completely new language or starting a business, your brain has to work so much harder. Your stress spikes, and your brain is instantly like, whoa, why are we doing this? It aggressively resists new goals because they are just too expensive when it comes to mental energy. Biologically speaking, comfort is simply the cheaper option. Now, when you do decide to spend that energy and try something new, you run straight into our second suspect, the amygdala. This little guy is basically your biological security alarm. People usually think that feeling fear is proof that they shouldn't make a change. But actually, fear is just proof that your brain noticed uncertainty. The second you step outside your comfort zone, this ancient alarm system just starts blaring.
The really crucial point here is that your survival brain doesn't care about probability. It only cares about protection. It's constantly asking, could this be dangerous? And unfortunately, your amygdala isn't very good at telling the difference between physical danger and social discomfort. Giving a presentation to your boss triggers the exact same biological panic as standing face-to-face with a hungry predator. Applying for a dream job feels exactly like wandering into unknown, hostile territory. Your logical mind knows you'll be totally fine, but your biological alarm system treats it like a literal life-or-death crisis.
Which brings up a seriously fascinating question. If this is all just a false biological alarm, why is it so incredibly hard to ignore? Why does retreating back to our comfort zone feel so intensely rewarding? Well, this is exactly where the biological trap truly snaps shut.
Psychologists call this a cycle of negative reinforcement. It happens in the blink of an eye. You face uncertainty, you feel the panic, so you retreat back to safety. Your anxiety instantly drops, and boom, your brain actively rewards you for avoiding the situation. By escaping that discomfort, you've completely tricked your ancient brain into thinking it just survived actual physical danger.
I really want you to take a second and let the gravity of this scientific reality sink in. You aren't being rewarded because something wonderful happened. You are rewarded because something unpleasant disappeared.
And sure, that immediate relief feels incredibly good in the short term, but right beneath the surface, it's quietly building up an enormous hidden cost.
Every single avoided conversation, every postponed personal goal, every canceled life opportunity, they all just strengthen that habit of avoidance. Comfort zones aren't addictive because they make us happy. They're addictive because they temporarily remove fear. But over time, that avoidance leads to massive, massive long-term regret.
Historically, our environment actually forced this dynamic. Ancient humans couldn't just stay perfectly comfortable forever. Their growth was literally forced by starvation, terrible weather, and predators. Their baseline comfort level was extremely low, meaning life itself pushed them to grow and adapt. But for us modern humans, growth is entirely optional, and we are absolutely surrounded by unlimited convenience.
Our modern world is dangerously engineered to constantly feed our ancient desire to avoid effort. Think about it. We've got one-click food delivery, entertainment that never ends with auto-playing streams, social media that literally gives us an endless scroll. Every single thing around us is designed to keep us perfectly, effortlessly comfortable.
And unfortunately, this inevitably drags us down a pretty miserable path. We start with this unlimited convenience, which gives us a temporary illusion of fulfillment. But remember, our ancient brain never evolved to handle this much ease. So comfort without any actual growth slowly turns into chronic boredom. And if you let it sit long enough, that boredom decays into deep, heavy frustration.
So looking at all of this, a brain literally wired for survival, an alarm system that constantly overreacts, and a modern world that completely coddles us, how on earth do we break free from millions of years of evolutionary wiring? Well, thankfully, science has an incredibly hopeful and brilliant answer.
The solution isn't somehow becoming fearless. The secret is neuroplasticity. This is your brain's literal ability to constantly rewire itself. Every single small act of courage you take creates a brand new neural pathway. And the most amazing part of this? It proves you absolutely do not need to be fearless to change your life. You just need to teach your brain that new experiences aren't actually dangerous. Every time you expose yourself to the unfamiliar, you're forcing your brain to adapt. Think about working out for the very first time. It is very difficult, but by your 10th time, it just feels normal. Public speaking on day 1 is completely terrifying, but by the 10th speech, it's manageable. Facing rejection initially hurts deeply, but by the 10th time, it teaches you incredible resilience. You are constantly expanding the borders of your comfort zone every single time you survive something unfamiliar. And this right here is the brilliant, triumphant reality of human psychology. Growth isn't about magically making your fear disappear forever. Growth is the repetitive act of showing your survival instincts that you are safe. It is literally proving your ancient brain wrong, again and again and again, until the very thing that once terrified you just becomes your new everyday normal. You see, your comfort zone was never designed to help you build an extraordinary life. It was just designed to keep your ancestors alive. But every single meaningful achievement, every great relationship, every successful career, and every incredible adventure actually begins the exact moment you're willing to step beyond it.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to remember this. Your brain is always going to mistake familiarity for safety. It's always going to reward you for avoiding uncertainty. But the next time that biological alarm system goes off and fear tells you to stay exactly where you are, I want you to pause, take a breath, look at your situation, and ask yourself one simple question.
Is this routine, this habit, this decision, is it really keeping me safe? Or is it just keeping me stuck?